What's up, YouTube? It's time to up the irons because it's an Iron Maiden album ranking. Let's get into it. All right, today I'm going to be ranking the studio albums of Iron Maiden. This is my preference only, so I don't need a bunch of shit in the comments. I'm sure it'll differ from somebody's, and that's okay. Music is subjective, and people hear things differently, and it all depends on your preference. So to kick it off, number 17 for me is, I don't think any surprise, Virtual 11. Virtual 11 was released in March of 1998. It was the second album with Blaze Bayley on vocals. It was produced by Steve Harris and Nigel Green. Throughout their history, they've only used a handful of producers, but Steve Harris decided to take it upon himself to produce this album. The only real standout on here is Future Real. The Klansman. Klansman's good. They still do that live from time to time. But The Angel and the Gambler, my God, how many times can you repeat a chorus in that song? I think I read somewhere it was like 22 times. It just got incredibly annoying after a while. Coming in at number 16 is No Prayer for the Dying. This was released in October of 1990. I believe it was the last album with Martin Birch before he retired. He had done a string of highly successful albums with them. This one is Tail Gunner, Holy Smoke. It opens up pretty hot, but then there are some songs on here. Hooks in You is pretty good. I like that one. But I started noticing on this album that Bruce it was almost like singing / growling. I wasn't a fan of it. So Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. I know that was a hit over in England. Not a fan. I don't skip it if it's on, but yeah, it doesn't really do anything for me. Mother Russia was pretty cool. But yeah, for me, number 16. Coming in at number 15, The X Factor. The X Factor was the first recording with Blaze Bayley on vocals after Bruce Dickinson decided to go pursue a solo career. This came out in October of 1995. This one, just like Virtual 11, was produced by Steve Harris and Nigel Green. It's not bad. I do like it. I do like some of the songs on this album. It's not a heavy hitter for me, but I do still pull it out and listen to it from time to time. Sign of the Cross, awesome song. They still do that live occasionally. Lord of the Flies, not bad. Man on the Edge, pretty decent. Just not a lot of memorable songs on this album. I've read somewhere that the lyrics and just the overall tone of this album was darker. Steve Harris was just going through a divorce, and his mindset was elsewhere, so he was in a dark place, and some of the lyrics and the music reflect on this album. But for me, yeah, this is number 16 for me, The X Factor. Coming in at number 14 on my ranking is The Final Frontier. This album was released in August of 2010. It was produced by Kevin Shirley. Kevin Shirley came in and has been producing their albums ever since Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith came back into the band. It's a pretty decent album. I will say, obviously with this ranking, a lot of the other Iron Maidens impress me much more, or I listen to them a lot more frequently. But for me, Satellite 15, Intro's a bit long. I, 440 for an intro is a little much. But The Final Frontier, good song. El Dorado, Mother of Mercy's not bad. The Alchemist, I love that song. Talisman's pretty good. But yeah, for me, number 14, Final Frontier. All right, number 13 on my list is Fear of the Dark. Fear of the Dark came out in May of 1992. It was, oh, I'm sorry, this one was the last one Martin Birch produced before he retired. Be Quick or Be Dead is pretty good. From Here to Eternity, I like that song. Afraid to Shoot Strangers. There's some heavy hitters on this album. Fear of the Dark, of course. Judas Be My Guide, very underrated in my opinion. But overall, pretty decent album. Just I like others more, but still overall pretty good. For me, number 13, Fear of the Dark. I'm gonna organize some changes in my life. I'm gonna exercise the demons of my past. Number 12 on my list is Dance of Death. This came out in September of 2003 and again was produced by Kevin Shirley. This is arguably the worst cover in Iron Maiden history. It's so bad. It's so bad. I found an article that I need to read. It said the original cover art supposedly featured only Eddie and a few monks behind him, but the band manager, Ron Smallwood, felt it looked empty, so he hired someone from IronMaiden.com to design characters surrounding Eddie using the program Poser. They then gave the roughs back to Patchett. David Patchett was the guy who did the original artwork. So they then gave the roughs back to Patchett and asked him to work on the skin and mask textures. Patchett did so, but was unimpressed with the result. So was everybody else, dude. That was just bad. There are some my standouts for me: Wildest Dreams, Rainmaker, No More Lies. Despite the hideous album cover, still not a bad album. Dance of Death. Number 11 is Senjutsu. This came out in September of 2021. This to date is their latest album. I hope they continue to make more albums. I read a lot of negative criticism about this album, and I was hesitant in picking it up because there's so many. They were bashing them for the length of the songs, and that doesn't bother me. I'm a big prog rock guy. Dream Theater alone, I think, has Octavarium is 24 minutes. Change of Seasons is 23 something. Marillion has This Strange Engine, that's pushing 18 minutes. Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick. The one song is the whole damn album. They just split it up and put it on two different sides. But yeah, so that doesn't bother me at all. The longer the songs, as long as it's a good song, keep them coming. Standouts for me on this album: Senjutsu, Stratego, Hell on Earth. There are some other good ones, but those are probably my favorites. So, yep, number 11, Senjutsu. Coming in at number 10 for me is The Book of Souls. This was released in September of 2015, again produced by Kevin Shirley. This album opened up with a banger. If Eternity Should Fail, I got to tell you, that sounds like a song that could have been released in the 80s for them when they were in their heyday. Not only is that one of my favorite songs on this album, that's probably one of my favorite Iron Maiden songs of all time. Speed of Light was good, Death or Glory. There's some other good songs on this album, but yeah, for me, number 10, Book of Souls. All right, here's where I'm probably going to start getting some negative comments. But again, this is just my list. It's what I like out of their entire catalog. Number 9 for me is the debut, Iron Maiden. This album came out in April of 1980. It's produced by Will Malone. Uh, some of the songs on here that I really enjoy: Remember Tomorrow, Running Free, Phantom of the Opera, Iron Maiden. Yeah, it's definitely different. When I first discovered Iron Maiden, I was, let's see, that was 82, so I was 13 years old at the time, and Number of the Beast just came on the local radio stations, and it really intrigued me. So I went out and bought I think it was a cassette at the time. Yeah, it was a cassette at the time, and I didn't hear any more Iron Maiden. I didn't hear any of the earlier releases until I was much older. I think Seventh Son of a Seventh Son was already out before I went back and purchased any of the earlier albums. I, of course, heard some of the songs from Live After Death, but I really wasn't familiar with them. But yeah, so for me, great album, but on my list, it only comes in number 9, the original release of Iron Maiden. Number 8 for me is Killers. This was released in February of 1981, and this was the first album where Martin Birch was on the controls producing the album. Again, it's a good album. Rothschild, Murders in the Rue Morgue. I hear a lot of negative talk about Prodigal Son. I love that song. That's a really good song for me, but it's still not very high in the catalog. I mean, it's in the top 10. So, but for me, number 8, Killers. Number 7 is A Matter of Life and Death. This came out in October of 2006, and as with all the other reunion era albums, it was produced by Kevin Shirley. This one opened up heavy for me. A different world. That riff is just killer. These colors don't run, brighter than 1,000 suns, for the greater good of God. Just a really good album. I just love the flow of this from beginning to end. It's just a great album. The reincarnation of Benjamin Brigg. This is so good. So if you haven't listened to any of the reunion era albums, or if you haven't paid that much attention to them, I highly recommend this. So number 7 on my list, Matter of Life and Death. Number 6, Brave New World. You watch the world exploding every single night. Dancing in the sun, a newborn in the light. This was the first album with Bruce Dickinson back on the vocals, and Adrian Smith came back into the band. At this point, they did keep Yannick Gers on guitars, so now it is a triple attack on guitars for them. This album exceeded my expectations when I heard Bruce was coming back. Ghost of the Navigator, Brave New World, Blood Brothers, Dream of Mirrors. Just a really good album. I really enjoy this, hence is why it's number 6 on my list. Brave New World. Number 5, Peace of Mind. After the juggernaut that was the Number of the Beast, this came out the next year, May of 1983. Again, produced by Martin Birch. Some really good songs on this album. Revelations, Flight of Icarus, The Trooper. There's still so many other good songs on this album, but yeah, I was still a kid at this time, and it was just, everything just resonated with me. It was just such a good album. Number 5, Peace of Mind. Number 4, The Number of the Beast. This, like I said earlier in the video, this was my first Iron Maiden album. That was the first thing I had ever heard from them. I went out, I was at a friend's house actually. We were listening to the radio, and Number of the Beast came on. Both of us jumped on our bikes, rode down to the store, and he bought one, I bought one. So that was my first Iron Maiden purchase. But for this, yeah, this came out in March of '82. Again, Martin Birch was still under the controls. Children of the Damned. I love that song. The Prisoner, 22 Acacia Avenue, of course, Hallowed Be Thy Name is just a classic. But yeah, this was my first introduction to Iron Maiden. I've had at the time so many different cassettes because they got ruined, so many different CDs. I finally got it on vinyl. So yeah, number 4 for me, Number of the Beast. Number 3, Power Slave. This came out in September of '84, again with Martin Birch behind the controls. This album, I think it was Live After Death the Power Slave. I think it was the Power Slave tour. Yeah, this was just very memorable in my mind. The backdrop, the scenery, just the whole stage setting for the concert was just fantastic. I may be mistaken, but regardless, when I used to have Live After Death on VHS tape. So, yeah, it was, I wore that thing out watching it so many times. But yeah, it's just Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Power Slave, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. This album is just a classic. Number 3 on my list, Power Slave. Number 2, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I think this album got a lot of heat because they were using the synthesizers and the guitar synth, and a lot of people didn't like it because they were, used to the classic metal from Maiden. I don't mind it. Again, like I said, I'm a big prog rock guy. I don't mind the keyboards. I don't mind the synthesizers. I'm used to it. I recently had a friend over at my house. He came over last year from England, and he was asking me when he was going through my record collection. He's like, "What's your favorite Maiden album?" And I told him it was Seventh Son, and he was like, "Wow." He's like, "Mine's somewhere in Time." So I was like, "Okay." So I started listening to both of these again, and yeah, they're both at the top of my list. The way this opens up, Moonchild, Can I Play with Madness, The Evil That Men Do. Probably my favorite song off this album is The Clairvoyant. I love that riff. I've been a guitar player for years, and that really hit me. So I really enjoyed that. So for me, number 2 on my list, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. And finally, number 1 on my list, Somewhere in Time. This came out in September of 1986, right after I had just graduated high school. So, this album, it's so good. I mean, to me, this is perfect Iron Maiden. I just alluded to that my friend came over from England and was visiting me. And after he said his favorite was Somewhere in Time, I went back and I started to listen to it again. I was like, no, he's probably right. So, but just Caught Somewhere in Time, Sea of Madness, Heaven Can Wait, Loneliness of a Long Distance Runner, Stranger in a Strange Land, Alexander the Great. The whole album is fantastic. And again, I like the synths. I like the guitar synths. So that doesn't bother me at all. So rounding out, number 1 on my list, Somewhere in Time. And not only that, the album cover on this is fantastic. I looked at this for hours upon hours when I was a kid, because the longer you look at it, the more stuff you find. So I found that very intriguing when I was, 17, 18 years old. So, but that's my list. I'm sure I'm sure a lot of people have different lists than me. Uh, again, it all comes down to your musical preference. I think it comes down to age. How old were you? If you were a teenager or an early adult in 1980 when Iron Maiden came out and when Killers came out, you might gravitate towards those more. Again, I didn't listen to those until later on, probably after Seventh Son came out, when I actually went back and purchased those. So I still like them. They don't. They don't. I guess I'm not as fond of them as the others because I grew up with these albums, especially from the 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 on my list. But yeah, like I said, it's all subjective. I understand your list may be different, so I'm curious to see what your list is. Drop a comment in below and let me know what your rankings are, or let me know why you think mine's wrong. That's fine. I'm a big boy. I can take it. So, hey, this is only my third video for YouTube. Please kindly consider subscribing. I've had plenty of views, but not a lot of subscriptions. It takes both. So, it doesn't cost you anything. It's free. So I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider subscribing. But for now, that's all I have. You guys have a great day. Up the irons.